Luke, how would you assess the way that you pitched tonight?
It was a little bit of a weird night to start off with a little blooper and then 12 pitch at bat blooper. So I thought there was some really good points. I thought there was some unfortunate the homer that was just a mislocation there, but a lot to build off of, especially with talking with Matt Blake. And there's some things I accomplished that I came into the game wanting to accomplish, and I did that. And so yeah, like the pride gets hurt a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, we just got to look back and say, okay, we did our job in those accomplishments.
What were those things that you were hoping to accomplish?
I had a feeling you would ask. So really just velocity, trying to get there, touch, get up into the numbers that I feel comfortable I can reach. I think there was a 6 in there. Like that's really a really great place to be. There's some things I'm working on mechanically. I know it looks a little different than it did last year. So that was kind of the transition of like every outing I just want to trend and rep out and master that game speed and be able to set my sights. And there's just a little bit like the next outing I feel like my goal would just be to get those lanes, get those sights a little bit more accurate. Like the homer, just try not to miss in some of those spots and tune it in a little bit, and I think that'd be a really good place to be after that.
Jeff Nelson is in the broadcast booth for us tonight, and he did break down the changes that you've made and talked about really the elimination of that leg kick. Yeah. Why is that a route that you feel you want to go?
Yeah, so in the off season, I've just always dealt with, I've dealt with injuries in the past, and I felt good down the stretch with the Yankees. I just feel that repeating and being consistent is a huge part of our game. And, working kind of backwards this offseason, essentially saying, working from the ground up and just getting to different positions and movements and building strength, it just felt like a repeatable movement. It felt like something that put me in a great spot. And I didn't really necessarily go into the offseason thinking I was going to do it. But when I went into throwing, it just felt so good every day, the way it felt on my arm, the way I could repeat it, the bouncing back, just being able to put a load on the arm, and it's continued into spring training, and it's felt unbelievable just the way I can recover and to do those things. And I think that's a big key during the season, just to feel good, you can be available.
Yankee fans got a glimpse of you for 3 games last year. Obviously signed a 1-year deal. You're back again. In those 3 games, you really featured your cutter, throwing it about a third of the time. How much do you anticipate that pitch being as big a weapon this year?
Yeah, it was a great opportunity to go out there and try a couple things. And that was kind of morphing into something I was gaining a lot of confidence in, and I think the results were showing in that pitch. And they, encouraged me to go out there and to throw that pitch more. And I'm at a point now where they're telling me, like, you have to throw this pitch. And so it feels really good to have something that I'd never really relied on besides the fastball and the changeup, and to have a 3-pitch mix that could feel comfortable and really just go anywhere on the plate with that pitch. And it's just it feels like a weapon. That's like the mindset, and I think that's a really confident place to be.
Last question. You have a really interesting role on the Yankees this year because you're right on the outside of the starting rotation, and we all know no team goes with just 5 starters throughout a season, but you're also a weapon out of the bullpen. How do you navigate that as a pitcher? How much do you think about your role, and how much do you think about just when they call upon me, I'll be ready?
Yeah, that's the last thing you said. I think it's hard to overanalyze and go through those motions of like, what is it going to be? Like, I think the best way to be successful is kind of just react sometimes. When you're put in a situation, if it's life or death, you just react. You can't plan. You don't have the time to do that stuff. And I think, that's a little bit of an extreme example, but I think it's knowing, like, I know how to do one, I know how to do the other, and it's just clicking in and out of it. And I think today was a good test. I had been coming out of the bullpen, so my mind was kind of geared in that. And so it was a little bit of a switch to kind of sit around all day and kind of get into those, a little bit boring sometimes, because you're a little anxious. But it was a good role today, and to be able to do that and to see, okay, now I've done both, and now I just got to learn from, okay, what gets me the quickest to be successful for this team.